Hey guys, Jason Sensational here. Today I have a little bit of a different video for you guys with a balance patch coming up in the first week of January. That's going to be huge. It's going to shake everything up, which I'm super excited for. But that means for all the decks that currently exist right now, everything might get shifted up. And for any of you guys trying to climb before then, I have 8 decks that I want to recommend to you guys. These are decks that I've played almost mostly myself as well, and I think are decks that are performing extremely well in today's meta. So if you guys are looking to hit a climb goal, whether that be to hit Diamond, Plat, or even Masters, these are a couple decks that I think will do you really well, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So I'll leave you guys with the decks, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, guys. So starting off the list is we have Spider Aggro. This has been a deck that has somehow survived every meta and has seen play almost a little bit each time. Maybe not to the fullest capacity, but Spider Aggro has definitely been coming back, being what I believe to be like the third most popular deck played on in NA ladder, which is very insane for its just persistent prevalence throughout time itself. Spider Aggro is a very classic go wide, have fearsomes, and then just burn out your opponent style of deck. It has seen a lot of play recently and has been doing pretty well. I think this deck does really well into decks that just don't have the ability to go wide, and a lot of decks right now just don't have healing to come back from the burn. So playing Spider Aggro into decks like Pantheon, playing into some of the Shell Folk decks. A lot of these decks just can't really go wide. You have a lot of early pressure, and Fearsome right now is a keyword just really seems to dominate. With the ability to have Frenzied Skitter as well, which is a 3-mana 3/2 Fearsome that just makes all of your opponent's units -1 attack. Makes our fearsomes even better and even nullifies some of our opponent's fearsome blockers. Definitely a very fast list, very easy to play, very easy to pilot, and has a lot of burn with a meta of very little healing. So just a very solid overall deck to climb with, very fast games, and has been showing some pretty decent success. So definitely a good deck to jam out while there really isn't that much control going on ladder. For the second deck, we have Zillion Echo. This has quickly become my personal favorite deck to play currently. This is a very aggressively slanted deck, so maybe something you're not quite used to from the old archetype. This deck aims to end games around turns 5, 6, 7, and can play for some very aggressive draws. I really like this deck right now, and I personally played this deck to climb from Plat to Diamond on an alt. I had like a 70% win rate of the deck, definitely very strong, despite what the meta stats seem to say. This deck is very powerful and also has a really unique play pattern than most aggressively styled decks. Having the predicts, having the echo, having the rally with the echo card, the chrono break, and setting up turns. It's just really cool. I love playing this deck a lot, and I would really urge all of you to try this one out. This is my personal favorite to play. And I think it's really fun. Also has very quick games as well. So you'll play very fast games, ending games between turns 6 to 7, and I think it's just a whole lot of fun. Can play out different ways. You can level Zillion, you can level Echo. It's just a whole great amount of time. So I would definitely urge you guys to check this out if you guys haven't tried it already, and let me know what you think. But I will have a video out for this deck later this week as well, so that's something to look forward to if you want to pick this up. The third deck here is Pantheon Shyvana, and this one might seem a little bit strange to you guys with the pairings, but this is a deck that Vivo played to rank 1 in NA ladder, so definitely a very solid deck. It has a little bit more consistency with the units, curving out with Screeching Dragon and starting with Dragon Child. So two cards that aren't run in most Pantheon decks. Screeching Dragon has sort of been cut out of the deck. And it just focused more on the faded units, but this deck allows you to have a little bit more consistency, introduces the card draw from Dragon's Clutch that Pantheon really needs, because sometimes you just brick out, don't have enough draw. And you have Blinded Mystics as well right now, which are actually really good into like the Shell Folk, the Shelly, even like the Eye of the Dragon, or even into the Mirror, where you can just really deny your opponent's faded units. So this deck has seen a definite splash within last week so far, and is just another different way to play Pantheon with a slightly more consistent game plan as you have more units to play out, so it's a little bit harder to miss out on them. So the fourth deck we have here is Lurk. This is a very standard build It's a little bit different than the one I'm used to running. It does run 2 Ruthless Predators over the Bloodbait and cut down 1 Jawfish. So you have one less Allegiant, or you have one less Lurk card in this deck, but a player by the name of Den has been using this list to quite high success within EU ladder. I believe he hit rank 3 playing Lurk, and Lurk honestly just has a pretty good time right now. So Lurk into Darkness is pretty good. Lurk into Dragons, which actually has been seeing a little bit more play recently, is pretty good, and into decks like Shellfolk, it can still perform quite well. So Lurk is always a little bit of a sleeper deck right now. Can struggle a little bit more into like the mono Pantheon decks, or the decks that just go really big really fast. But right now, I think Lurk is a pretty solid pick. If you guys do enjoy playing Lurk, this is definitely a deck that can be played to pretty good success right now. So finally, moving away from some of the faster aggro-y, more mid-range decks, we have some of my personal favorites. This is Zillion Gnosis. I was introduced to this deck on my stream by someone who just saw it on the NA leaderboard. This is a slightly different version than the ones I've been running, with some pretty spicy inclusions such as Mask Mother and Darkwater Scourge. Most of the rest of the deck is pretty similar to what I had running before, but I really like the addition of this extra fearsome card from Mask Mother, and of course being able to eat up the Darkwater Scourge to become a 7/7 lifesteal is just a very, very good stabilization tool. Outside of that, we are running a Rite of Negation and 2 boxes, which is really good right now into Echo Zillion, being able to just box Echoes as they come out of Chrono Break, being able to deal with just aggro decks, being able to deal with a lot of other different decks like the Ken and Ari decks as well, just having a lot of very situational tools. Zillion has quickly also become one of my favorite champions so far. I think Zillion just is able to play out a very flexible game plan. Being able to threaten and level up Zillion by himself is just a really, really big nuisance against a lot of control decks. This deck can go very late. It has the Ledros, has the triple Gnosis with the double Atrocities. It has 2 Ruinations to really just eat up on these Demacia Targan decks as well. So I think a very flexible deck suited within this meta. It is a ton of fun, so I also would recommend you guys try this one out. One of my personal favorites, but a really good anti-aggro deck to some of the spiders running around, to some of the pirates running around right now. So very, very good anti-aggro deck that still has a good chance into the late game. I think I'd be a little bit scared into Shellfolk decks in particular with this list, but I think into most of the other parts of the meta, this list performs quite well. Next up, we have Darkness. So Darkness remains to be one of the last few control decks that are still just thriving within this meta. I think BBG was playing Darkness to quite good success. This is a pretty prototypical list. It runs your classic cards that boost up your darkness, generate your darkness, things like that, topping off with 3 Exali Sentinels, having 2 mini-morphs, as well as the same sort of controlled box as the other SI decks I've showed. So I think within this meta, Mini-Morph is just really solid, and into a lot of the aggro decks, we do have the Withering Mist and Withering Wail as well. But I think what Darkness does really well is that it has an ability to scale towards that late game, which is really essential with cards like Vagar or Twisted Catalyzer. Being able to scale up your Darkness, go into the late game with a lot stronger tools than you did at the beginning, is just really, really effective into a lot of the decks right now. Because once your Darkness deals like 5-6 damage, there's really not that much you're afraid of. And being able to deal with Vagar on turn 4 is actually quite difficult to a lot of decks right now. So Darkness has seen quite good success having a good SI toolbox with also a lot of the powerful Bando City cards, as well as a scaling win condition that ultimately allows you to outvalue a lot of decks. Makes this one of the last few control decks playable on ladder right now. And to top things off, we have 2 sort of combo-esque decks. We have Thralls. Thralls has always been sort of a good deck that has always been in the sidelines. But Thralls performs really well because it's very uninteractive to most deck strategies at the moment. Even to decks that can't interact it with, like Homecoming, for example, still struggle against it because most of them just really fall towards Avalanche and Ice Shard and Blighted Ravine. I think these 3 cards right now deal with a lot of the meta. Sort of good into aggro, really beats up on Ken and Ari. Even into Shellfolk decks, they really don't have the ability to interact with our Thralls. And if we just push out a bunch of Thralls around the turn 6 to 8 mark, not many decks can really deal with that. So a nice combo deck, a lot of thinking ahead to plan around, but if that's sort of the deck that you like playing, I would highly recommend trying Thralls out, at least right now before the season gets shaked up again. And last, but definitely not least, we have one of my favorites. Again, this is Nami TF. You've probably seen a lot of this on my channel, but a very strong deck. It has a lot of different win conditions with the elusives and Nami and Shelly and even the Shell folk to just go over the top with value. What this deck does really well is, again, just like the Darkness deck, it has the mini morph for single target removal, and it has the pings for a lot of the other decks. A deck that's super flexible, has many different win conditions, and it, to my opinion, is just a really fun deck to try out. So this is the last deck of the 8 that I would recommend for you guys to try out to climb before the next huge balance patch. If you guys have a climb goal, whether that's to be hit Plat, Diamond, or even Masters, these are 8 really powerful decks that I would personally recommend you guys to try out, and I hope you guys have success within your climbs. But this is just a quick video for this week before I send out some deck guides, so I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a change in pace. Hope everybody had a happy holidays, and I wish everybody a happy new year as well. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of content, because I can do more of this as well, but I'll leave you guys there for now, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks guys, peace out.